See, step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, you had that phase of your life. When you first were born, you were born on the high-flying disc. You don't remember that because those around you were already not mostly on the high-flying disc. And you worried them because you were on the high-flying disc all the time. You were just too happy for your own good. And so they started pointing out to you incrementally all of the reasons that you shouldn't just be happy all the time. They said to you things like world doesn't revolve around you and life isn't supposed to be fun all the time. Little did they know that none of that is true. And then you got into the phase that we will call the step 1 phase of your life, where the contrast that you were sorting through those early years caused you to put a whole lot into your vortex. Well, this was a really wonderful thing. In fact, it was your plan. You said, I'll go forth and I'll sift and sort and I'll sort of settle in and I'll figure out who I am and I'll define my preferences and I'll launch all these rockets and I'll pay attention to my guidance system. And step 2 took care of itself all along the way, because all through it you knew what you didn't want, you knew what you did want. You've been building this vortex, it's spinning, the cooperative components have all been gathered, and now, friends, it's time for the step 3 phase of your life. Not only step 3, but predominantly step 3. Predominantly step 3. It's time for you to get on that high-flying disc and feel good and occasionally dip and clarify something. That's a wonderful thing. Don't you love to have an experience with someone that maybe doesn't feel good while you're having it, but it sure makes you clear about what you want? And isn't the clarity really worth having? Don't you love that decisiveness that is within you? Well, that decisiveness that is within you is alignment. It's alignment with what's in your vortex. So when you're having a moment with someone and it feels like negative emotion to you, don't beat up on yourself as if you've done something wrong. Instead, applaud your guidance that lets you know that whether it was the action or behavior of another, or whether it was your response to it or your perception of it, in any case, you're laying some pipes that are leading to where you don't want to go, and that negative emotion is letting you know that. So withdraw your attention from that and give your attention to what you want. And if it keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening, you're going to come to some very strong decisions. And it is our promise to you that when you feel that decisiveness within you, that you'll know that you're on a high-flying disc, because the only thing that causes you to ever not feel good is your own split energy. It's not somebody else doing something that you don't want them to do. It's not somebody else's emotion about something. It's not about that political party or that one or that religion or that one. It's not about anything except your own split energy. So why would you let the behavior of others, the belief of others, the reality of others, why would you let that kind of stuff be the reason for you splitting your energy? Just because you haven't practiced feeling good long enough to become so aware that that's what you want, that you are now intolerant of doing that, but you're in control of your own experience, you see. And once you get this, and then you stop asking, you know, you need to be different, because if you would be a little different, then I would feel a little better. Oh, how awful that is, because you know they can't be different just because you need them to be different. They've got their own momentum going on. It's not fair of you to ask anybody to be different than they're being in any moment, because first of all, they can't be. If they're not feeling good, we promise you they'd be being different if they knew how to be different. They don't know how to be different. They don't want to feel bad. And so then when you compound it by feeling bad about them feeling bad, and now you feel bad about them feeling bad, you're just all laying pipes that are taking you to places that you don't want to go. So stop it. And instead, take control of your own experience and do it early on in the day until you get the hang of it, and then you begin to feel this. The other day, Esther went down to Mission Bay. She stopped and got a burger and took it to Mission Bay to eat it, and she was really flying high and really feeling good. And she was watching the other people. Some of them were roller skating, and some of them were running, and some of them were picnicking, and some of them were boating. There were a lot of people that she could see as she was sitting in her car enjoying her lunch. And as she is looking out, she's feeling so good, and she said right out loud, talking to us, I really don't think that any of them feel as good as I feel. And while it was a sort of a judgmental, which is just an observational thing, she was right. In other words, Esther had gotten on her high-flying disc, and then she had felt the inspiration to go get something to eat and to go to a particular place to eat it. She went there because of all the places that she could think of to be at that moment in time. This was the place that called her the most. It was easy access. It was beautiful to see. It made her feel good. It was laden with wonderful memories for her. And so she went there with the express purpose of feeling good for this 30 minutes that she was going to sit there and enjoy her lunch. She was right. She did it on purpose. She got on her high-flying disc, and then she followed her inspiration, and there was no one anywhere around that was anywhere near as happy as she was, because they had all gone there to get happy. They weren't happy and then were inspired to go there. Can you feel the difference? When you are happy and then you are inspired, then what happens feels so much more. There's a synergy about it. It's an exponential thing that happens. You hook up with so much more when you get on that high-flying place, and then you follow through with the inspired action. Oh, you're so going to like this as you get into your 20th and 30th and 40th and 50th and 60th day of this. So then Esther said, Abraham, I want others who feel like I feel to come to me. And now it's time for her to leave. And so she turns on her car and gets out onto the roadway. And she is driving down this frontage road and headed right for Interstate 5 North to go out to Del Mar, where she is living. And as soon as she crossed the last intersection, she realized that the traffic was all bound up. She could see as far as she could see up the freeway that nothing was moving. And she realized that she was going to be in a traffic jam. And there was really no legal way out, because she'd crossed her last intersection and she had no option. And so all of this is happening in split seconds. She just turned on her signal and made an illegal U-turn. A very precise, very well executed illegal U-turn. And the car right behind her was doing the same thing at the same moment. It was like synchronized illegality. And now she is behind him, and this man with beautiful white hair in a beautiful suit got out of his car. The light was still red. Came to Esther's window. Esther rolled her window down. He reached right in and shook her on the shoulder and I've lived here a long time, and never have I seen anyone make such a precise decision and execute it so rapidly and so effectively as you just did. It had not been 2 minutes since Esther's statement to the universe, I want to find people who feel like I feel. Rebellious and invincible. If he'd been a generation or two younger, he'd have high-fived her through the window. So what we're getting at, you know what we're getting at. Once you get into this place, so much is happening, and once you identify that you want to see it, it comes to you even more quickly. In other words, you literally can say, I would like to see more of this. I would like to see more of this, please. I would like to see more of this. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. And in this feeling, once it begins coming, then you begin realizing that there is not anything that is off limits for you. I would like a jet. I would like a jet. I would like the quagmire in Congress to soothe. I would like efficient, effective political people. I would like the world to be a happier place. I would like to have a really good lunch somewhere that makes me feel really good. You see, castles are buttons. It doesn't matter. It's as easy to create a castle as a button. Just depends on whether you're focusing on a castle or a button.